welcome to our virtual reading information session. This session is designed for parents and carers of our children in our reception class in Robbins to understand and learn more about how we teach reading at Haynes. We would normally do this session in the hall at school and invite you all along, but unfortunately due to the current pandemic it's not possible. So we hope that this little information video helps you understand and learn more about reading here at Haynes Lower School. Now, your child's reading journey has already begun, and it probably began at least 2 years ago, maybe even 3. Can you think back to all those times when your child would be sitting in their car seat in the back of the car, or you'd be out shopping and they would be pointing at certain shops or certain toys, eagerly trying to tell you that they knew what they were. This might have been the Thomas logo, this might have been Peppa Pig, this might have been Disney characters, it might have been a favourite drink or a favourite food, or one of those rather well-known takeaway establishments that children seem to pick up on what they are incredibly early. Now, you probably know, just like we do at Haynes, that they weren't actually reading the letters in those words and being able to say that that actually does say Thomas the Tank Engine, or Peppa Pig, or Postman Pat, or Beauty and the Beast. What they were doing was they were recognising and seeing patterns, colours, shapes and symbols, and associating them with things they knew. And it's that recognition of pattern, shape, colour and symbols that are the first skills in learning to read. So way back when they were 18 months maybe, and ever since they will have been practicing those skills, so that now they're at a stage where they may well be beginning to learn to read and recognise, say and hear phonic sounds that then make up those words that they have been recognising since they've been little. Now, at Haynes, we teach phonics on a daily basis, and this is because the best way to teach children to read is to do it regularly, to do it daily, and to do it in a fun and exciting way. Mrs. Newland and Miss Butterfield have created a short video for you to see how they teach phonics to the whole class each day. So in a moment there's going to be an opportunity for you to be able to see that. And what would be great is if you can hear and listen to how the phonic sounds are spoken. It's about how the sound is spoken that helps the children say the sounds in its purest form, and then later on, once all those individual phonic sounds have been learnt, the children can then put them together to blend them into short words. But for now, let's have a little watch of Mrs. Newland and Miss Butterfield's phonics lesson that happened earlier this term.
Let's do our phonics sounds this morning. I'm going to say the sound first. You listen to the sound and then you say it after me. So listening. Ah. Listen first. D. G. Now, its letter name is G. G. The sound it makes is G. Everyone say G. Well done. So its name is G. Its sound is G. Fabulous. Well done. I'm going to get my little pot of objects. All things beginning with G. Okay. Now this morning, put your hand up. If you know something in this pot that I show you that begins with a G. So you need to put your hands down because I haven't shown you an object that begins with G. Put your hand down. When I pull an object out, put your hand up in the air. Remember, it starts with the sound G. Oh, what wonderful hands up. Leo,
The horse.
think about the sound. G, G,
G.
G.
Go.
Brilliant. Well done, superstar. That is a G, G, goat. Everyone say goat.
Go.
Everyone say G.
Go.
Brilliant. G for goat. Oh, I love these. Juicy flow. Beautifully said. Well done. These are grapes. Everyone say grapes. If these are going to stick, let's see if they stick. I'm not sure they're going to stay on the board.
They're not going to stay on the board, I think.
Don't know. So if they fall off, don't worry. Ooh. Oh, this one. Put your hand up if you think you know what this animal is called, beginning with the sound G. Evelyn,
Gorilla.
beautifully said. Everyone say gorilla.
Gorilla.
Begins with a
Gorilla.
fabulous, a G sound. Well done. Ooh. This is something you might find in a field to stop those sheep escaping. Reuben,
Fence.
think it is like a fence, but this one opens and closes and it begins with a G, G.
Gate.
Brilliant, well done. It's a gate. Everyone say gate.
Yay!
Okay, you don't have to shout it at me. If I was to shout at me, that would be fine. Please just say it nicely to me. You don't need to shout. Ooh. Okay. This is a bit more tricky. This is a type of ball. And it gets hit with a golf club. It's a type of ball. It's got a special name. And it begins with a G, G, G sound. It's a little bit more tricky. Let me ask Matilda.
Go.
Brilliant! It's a golf ball. Well done, Matilda. Superstar. This one's quite a lightweight. Of course, it would roll off. So this is our golf ball. I really don't think this one's going to stick. Let's try our best. Okay, well done. Okay, so our letter sound is G. Well done. I'm going to write a label for some of these things. So watch carefully. I'm going to write a label. And I'm going to write up here gate. What does gate begin with? Ben. Beautiful, good boy. We've got G. A. Gate. Ooh. What were these, Esme? What were these? Good girl. These were grapes. What do grapes start with? What does the word grapes start with? Katie. Brilliant, Katie. Well done. This is its label. Look, this is the name for it. A. Grapes. Well done. Who can remember what this animal was? Esme. Good girl, well done. What does goat start with, Mia? What does goat start with? What sound can you hear at the beginning called goat? Brilliant, well done. write it. Goat. Well done. Okay. Super. Now we're going to watch Geraldine now. And we're going to see what things Geraldine finds around the house, starting with G. So try to remember them, because you're going to see if there's something new that she finds beginning with G. Turn and face the screen.
Well, that was lovely to see the children learning in the classroom and how they join in together, they all have a turn, and they all are exposed to learning together. Not just the phonic sounds, but the name that the letters make. And then there's other resources that are used, so practical objects, visual clues, and we use the screen in the classroom to find other media to help them engage and understand and learn more about phonics. Geraldine Giraffe is a really, really popular giraffe puppet who I still believe they think is real, who goes around her house to find objects that begin with the sounds, the phonic sounds the children are learning. You can find these videos yourself on YouTube. You just need to put in the words Geraldine Giraffe and then pick a phonic sound. So you might pick the sound S or F or H to help your child practice more at home and see and hear how Geraldine goes around her house and helps and to teach the children more about the phonics. So the next stage after that, not necessarily in the classroom straight after sitting together, is the children then learn to put those individual phonic sounds together. Now they can do that through hearing and saying initially, and by that I can demonstrate it as the following. So you might say k, a, t, and hearing those three sounds, your child might actually be able to put them together and realise that k, a, t makes cat. Or another example, h, e, n makes the word hen. Or p, I, g makes the word pig. Being able to do that from a hearing point of view and a listening point of view is really, really important, and that is the next stage. Following on from that is the child being able to recognise those sounds written down on paper or on a board or written somewhere, and being able to recognise each written down sound, know the phonic sound that written down sound makes, and then saying them together. So seeing the letters p, I, g, and recognising, hearing and seeing those together to make the word pig. Or it gets a little bit more complicated as they get better at it. Things like k, l, o, k, clock, or st, I, k, stick. And that's how they use those sounds together. And they blend them to make the words. So it's really important they can hear them, it's really important they can say them, and then it's really important they can read them too from being written down. Once they've got those skills, they are learning to read even more skillfully than before. Alongside learning the phonic sounds, we help the children to learn digraphs. Digraphs are when you have two letters together that make one sound. So for example, if you saw the letters T and H written down, when they're together, they are a digraph and they make this sound. If they see the sounds K and H written down, when they are together, they make the sound Ch. When they see the sounds W or W and H written down, when they're together, they make the sound W. So it's the next stage is children learning those digraphs, because those digraphs appear really early on in reading. So initially they learn the phonics, then they learn to blend them, and they then learn the trigraphs, because very soon after knowing those phonics, the trigraphs and the digraphs come into play. So it's important we teach those too. And then the next stage from that is learning tricky words. Tricky words will have been in your children's phonics books from fairly early on this term. These are words that you cannot, however hard you try, sound out. They just cannot be sounded. So for example, the word the. You have to first of all know the digraph the, and then the e on the end makes that word complete, and the word is the. The children see written down t, h, e, and if they were to sound out t, h, e, it would be t, h, which is never going to be the. So tricky words are taught in a different way. We call it look and say. So you have to look at it and you say it and then you remember. And there are many, many, many words like that cannot be sounded out phonetically. They are just learnt. So those words are words that just need lots of repetition, lots of looking at, lots of seeing, lots of saying, lots of repeating. And then over time, children very quickly learn what those words are and they remember. So they start to remember I, go, to, the, into, was, and similar words like that. So in your child's phonics book, when you see those words, please practice those too at home. That will really help your child. Now, Mrs. Newland and Miss Butterfield work really hard in class helping your children to learn, and they are making progress. And as a school, we are so delighted with the support that parents can offer their children at home. And it is important at this stage to mention to you that children who are helped at home to learn to read and to practice their phonics and to practice their words and telling stories make better progress. They make rapid progress compared to children who don't have the opportunities at home to practice and to learn their phonics and their words and their tricky words. So the school staff will do all they can, but research, and actually we know because we've seen it year after year, the children who practice at home make the most progress and find reading easier because those early skills develop much quicker because they've been repeated as frequently as they can. So school staff would like you to practice for 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes maybe when you get up and having breakfast, 5 minutes in the car while you're waiting to come into school, maybe 5 minutes when you get home from school. Just 5 minutes a day is all it needs in these early stages of learning to read. And then once you've done that, please write a little note in the green diary so that teachers can see that your child's been practicing at home. This way, teachers can celebrate with your child how they've been getting on at home in the same way that when the teachers write in their diaries at school, you can celebrate with your child at home on how they've been getting on at school. The next part I'd just like to talk to you all about is the reading books. So from the very beginning, children bring home books without words, and this is to help your child learn about books. So it's learning about the picture on the front and what the story might be about. It will be about which is the front cover, which is the back cover. How do we turn the pages? Do we tear them across quickly or do we look at them slowly? And then it's about learning how stories are structured. And books without words are ideal for children to learn to tell their own story. Because there are no words, you can't get it wrong. It's only going to be right. The children use the pictures in the storybooks to help them tell and make up and create their own story. But it won't be long before your child is expected to write their own story in a book with many words, lines, paragraphs, sentences, capital letters, full stops, finger spaces, joined at handwriting, adjectives, all sorts of things. That'll be year 1, year 2. But these early days in reception allow your child to develop those skills of imagination and storytelling. A child who can tell their own story or make up a story from pictures they can see is more able later on in life to be able to write their own story because they've practiced that dialogue as they've been learning in reception. The other reason we give books at the very beginning is to develop a love and an enjoyment of books. Later on, once your child has learnt phonic sounds and how to blend them successfully from seeing them written down, your child will then start to get books with words in. The reason we do it this way is because we want a child's reading experience to be successful. And examples have shown us over many years that when you give a child a book with words in and they haven't got those basic skills learnt and under their belt, if you give them a book with words, they instantly fail because they haven't got the skills to recognise the sounds, to know what they are, to say them correctly and to blend them together. So we do the teaching of it first and then give the books when the child is able to practice those skills confidently. And as soon as they've got books with words, those skills continue to be developed and get stronger and stronger. And before you know it, there'll be books with pages and pages full of words, which will take much longer than 5 minutes to read. But again, it would be great if you practice for 5 to 10 minutes a day then. You don't have to complete the whole book in one go, but have a turn every day. We really, really appreciate the support that you are able to give your children because that helps your child and it helps your child to make more progress. School can only play a small part in their learning journey. They play a very important and vital part in their learning journey, but children actually spend more time at home than they do at school. So if we can work together to all play our part in helping our children learn to read, there is a wonderful, wonderful chance that all children will make wonderful progress and they will become fluent, confident and able readers with all the skills in place to be able to then go on and read whatever they like. Thank you so much for joining me today for this reading information session. I do hope it's been helpful. If you do have any further questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch, either with myself or with Mrs. Newland or Miss Butterfield, and we will do our very best to answer any of your questions. But please remember, reading should be an enjoyable process, but it does take time. Some children don't actually learn to read fluently until year 1, sometimes even year 2. So please do not worry if you think your child isn't reading well enough yet. They will be doing their best, I promise. They will be doing all they can. But all children learn at different rates. But we will help them on their journey and do everything we can to help them to develop a love of reading.